Okay, so here it goes. This is my very first review on the television show Abbott Elementary. It's a sitcom on ABC which stars Quinta Brunson, who was the creator, as well as Tyler James Williams from Everybody Hates Chris and the legendary Sheryl Lee Ralph, as well as a couple of other actors. Some of them are new, some of them have been in the business for a couple of decades, but I actually like this sitcom. I think Quinta Brunson has something really special with this. I do have my criticism with it, but I do think the writing, for the most part, is good. Now, I did see the first 2 episodes, so I'm going to do my review today on episode 1, which is the series premiere. And then I'm going to do episode 2 and 3 tomorrow and Thursday. So here it goes. Hey, it's your girl, Miss Analytical, and this is my channel that involves reviews on entertainment medium, whether it's TV, movies, sitcoms, reality TV, ratchet TV, books, plays, award shows, TV specials, anything that is involved in entertainment. So, Abbott Elementary is based on a group of teachers that work in underprivileged schools. And this particular school is named Abbott Elementary. So what happens is that in this school has one of the highest turnover rates for teachers. The teachers do not last longer than 2 years. So there are 2 teachers. Their names are Janine Teagues, and she's a 2nd grade teacher, and a history teacher, Jacob Hill. And they are basically 2 of 3 teachers in a group of 20 that they made it past 1 year, okay? Which is bad. Now, the elementary school is set in Philadelphia, which is Quinta Brunson's hometown, and it's actually based on her mother's experiences as a teacher in public schools. Now, this public school is atrociously underfunded to where the teachers have to buy supplies out of their own pocket. They have to basically buy everything out of their own pocket. Sometimes they have to feed the kids. Sometimes they have to even buy other supplies such as rugs, chairs, you name it, because there's something funky going on with the budget. Now, there's a documentary crew that's basically, wants to do this documentary about the everyday lives of teachers in, underfunded schools in urban communities. But they decided to go to Philadelphia's Abbott Elementary, which is really good because you get to see and expose a lot of bad things that's going on. Now, you also have the experienced kindergarten teacher. Her name is Barbara Howard. That's portrayed by Sheryl Lee Ralph. And she's been teaching for about over 20 years. And she's really good with management of kids. And she should be a principal, but she doesn't want it. Then you have the 2nd grade teacher, Melissa Shimetti. She knows how to control her class, but she's Italian. And she knows how to get things because she has a lot of connections outside of the education system, if you know what I mean. But for the most part, she's a good person. Then you have the history teacher, Jacob Hill. He basically is one of those white men that is always apologizing for being white. He basically talks about white privilege and how he's against it. And whenever something's going on, he's always, apologizing. Like, oh my God, I'm sorry, for my whiteness. I apologize for my white privilege. And it gets on the nerves of pretty much the entire cast of teachers, including Shemetti. She can't take it either because Shemetti, she don't have an issue with being white. But she's not one of those, like, you know, she's not a Karen or anything like that. But her whole thing is when it comes to Jacob, it's like, pause. You could knock it off. So anyway, you have somebody that I can't stand. You have Ava Coleman, who is the school principal. Now, basically, Ava Coleman is incompetent. And that's the nicest way to put it. But Ava Coleman, in my opinion, needs to basically, she need to get hit upside her head. I'm not promoting violence, but she does not care about the welfare, the well-being, the education, and the success of her students. Okay? She doesn't care about her teachers, her staff at all. She cares about herself. So basically, Ava Coleman is in it for the money. And Ava Coleman pretty much got the job to be a principal because she blackmailed the superintendent of the school district, which I'm not going to lie. That is kind of common a lot of times with, like, if you don't give me a position, I'm going to basically spill the beans on you. So basically, she knew the secrets of the superintendent. And to shut her up, the superintendent gave her the position. So pretty much in the pilot episode, the school is basically asking for more money for funds. And they want to purchase supplies, including rugs, which Janine needs for a class. Now, Janine Teagues is played by Quinta Brunson. Janine Teagues is still a new teacher. And she has it in her, but she needs a mentor. And she wants a mentor, but Barbara Howard don't want to be her mentor, you know? But Janine doesn't really have a firm handle on her students, but you're going to see why in the next episode, why she's the way she is, because you're going to start to see an inside glimpse of her personal life outside of the classroom. Now, while all this mess is going on, they talk to Principal Coleman, and Principal Coleman is basically tone deaf. She don't really care. All she cares about is how she looks, money that she's making off of them, and it's alleged that she's pocketing the money. So basically, she's taking the funds for herself and not even using it to benefit the students or the teachers. So while this is going on, you have this situation with a teacher who basically got fired for kicking a student. Now, the teacher was, for the most part, a nice person, but she broke. She broke down. And the student basically hit her first. But she basically kicked him back. And because of that, no matter what, you're not supposed to put your hands on a student. She was supposed to send him to principal's office, but instead she retaliated because she basically couldn't take it anymore because of all the frustration. So Ava Coleman fired her, and she gets replaced by a substitute teacher named Gregory Eddy, who was played by Tyler James Williams from Everybody Hates Chris. Now, I like Tyler James Williams, and I like him on the show. Now, he has goals also. He wants to be the principal of Abbott Elementary. But right now, he's only a sub. So he's not even a permanent teacher. Now, he forges a friendship with Janine Teagues. And you could tell he really is feeling her. She's not really feeling him right away. But when you see the show, you're going to start to see that they feel each other. And I think they make a good couple. And so what pretty much happens is that in this episode, they're trying to get the rugs for the classes, for the students, because they pretty much teach the lower grades, except for Jacob Hill. He teaches history. So more than likely, he's probably teaching anywhere from 5th and 6th grade because he's a subject teacher. And I will say this, even though Ava Coleman didn't give a damn about them trying to get the rugs, even though Janine was sick and tired of her, she filed a complaint with the superintendent. The email basically got redirected to Ava, and Ava got upset and reprimanded Janine in front of the whole entire staff. Okay? Now, even though the teachers feel that Janine is like weak and she doesn't have a spine, she's kind of like, she doesn't have a backbone, they don't like Ava Coleman because she's making their lives miserable. So they stand up for her and they basically say, they're sick and tired of her not supporting the school. She's basically in it for herself. So what happens is Melissa Shimetti, who's a 2nd grade teacher who's Italian, she basically gets a connect from one of her friends who gets them the rugs made from the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles. So when they ask her how she got it, she doesn't really tell them what happens, but her friend basically stole it. And he gives it to the school. So he does the wrong thing, but for the right reason. So in the end, everybody is happy, especially Janine. And what ends up really, I feel, coming about, which is a great thing, is that Janine gets respect from Barbara Howard, Melissa Shimetti, Jacob Hill, who pretty much is optimistic most of the time, and even Ava Coleman, the principal. But also, she gets respect from the new guy, Gregory Eddy, who is the guy from Everybody Hates Chris. So in the end, the series premiere, the pilot episode, is really happy, and the students are happy. And, Janine feels that her life as a teacher is, for the most part, pretty optimistic. And she feels that that day, in that moment, she made a difference. But she starts to become a nuisance to Ava Coleman, the principal. And I'm going to leave it at that because I will say this. I like the writing of the show. But what I don't like is that the principal is a black woman who's an airhead that doesn't give a damn. And it's a stereotype of black people being in leadership positions and not giving a fuck. It's a sad reality, but sometimes we do encounter that. There is a saying that, well, it's not a saying, but in the hood, if you want your elementary schools to fail, get a black person to do it. If you want your schools to fail, get a black person to lead, especially a woman. That's bad. Now, I will say this. When I went to school, I had principals of color. And for the most part, they were pretty good, except for the last principal I had. I thought she was horrible. But it wasn't like this. If they would have had her as a white woman, it would have got a lot of pushback. So they probably chose to make her black to be safe. Now, I'm sure that as a show gets popular, because I do believe the show is going to get popular, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of criticism from that. But, it is what it is. Quinta Brunson, she created it. She felt that this probably would be the best way to tell the story. And the women on the show, I will say, have more backbone, except for Janine, played by Quinta. The men are a little bit passive. And that's that whole feminist thing. That's the only thing I don't like about that. But through it all, I will say, for a show that doesn't have canned laughter, there is humor in it. And, it's not like, it's not an urban comedy. I wouldn't even say it's a black comedy show. But I would say that I could see black people and black families watching it and being popular in a black home. And with that being said, it's your girl, Miss Ann Little. I'm signing off. Stay tuned for more commentary coming up this week. I will be doing reviews on Power, including the trailer for The Force starring Tommy Egan. and a couple of new shows. Also, I will be discussing the Emmett Till series, and I will be talking about Queens. And that's all. Take care. Later.